Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Osyron. We are Osyron.
I don't know what camera I'm in. One of them.
Osyron.
Yeah.
Anyway, we want to do this live kind of stream.
It's hard to take you seriously when
It
you're
is
talking.
very hard to take me seriously.
Take 16. Let's try it again.
Yeah, we've been doing this all morning, trying to get this right, so hopefully this is the final cut. But we just want to kind of play the whole album through and kind of commentate on all the songs, what we did, how we did them, how we recorded them, who played what. And,
All the auto-tuning for the vocals.
All the auto-tuning for the guitars.
Yeah.
Auto vibrato.
Yep.
Yeah.
Auto vibrato.
And
New app.
yeah, so hopefully you get to know a little bit more about us and more about the record Foundations, which is out
By who?
today. Right, this is airing
Yeah, that's how
Today.
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 Not tomorrow, today.
Today.
You are watching this right now.
You are right
Here's,
now
here's
watching
the
this.
first song, The Cross.
The cross.
Wait.
No.
So this intro is a thingy Christoph did. He was just lonely one night, I guess.
Yeah, just all by myself.
After some crying, yeah.
I guess I did like an orchestra intro thing, and then we ended up using it for the album because it was nice and ominous and
What'd you do this in?
Cubase
Ubasi?
in Kubasi 7.5 and a whole load of VST instruments. Sounded great. Pretty sick.
I think another thing too for this song was we talked about how we wanted it to, when all the instruments came in, it had to be massive, it had to be like such a super fat sound, low end, and it had to be, because we've had a couple reviews and people talk about it where, you know, it sounds like people marching to war, kind of invading, which is kind of the premise of the song in general.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, all we did was, you know, we all got into a room and we all just started saying, "Huh." And
We're great lyricists.
yeah,
That was
all
my
we did.
contribution. That's all I knew how to spell.
That is everybody in the band doing the huzz.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
The group, all the group chant stuff, that was fun to do.
Yep.
The song started out, the core of the song, I guess, was just trying to headbang and finding like what would be a good headbanging tempo, and then finding out what that is and then writing a riff out of that. So nothing, that's how this song started,
So
I
you
guess.
scientifically determined that 160.
This is, 160 is a good
That's like the
headbanging
nod
tempo.
you're-
A good nod, yeah.
Yeah, Bobby sat there in a lab coat and he had spectacles on,
Yep,
and he
science.
sat there going through a whole bunch of equations, and he figured out that this was the.
This is it.
Write that down.
This is
Optimal
it.
headbang speed.
Exactly.
160 beats.
You're welcome.
Love this part.
This is probably my least favorite part of the album.
That's what keeps a band together, guys. Is
Yeah,
just
the,
differing opinions.
Yeah. Making fun of each other.
Exactly. No one here likes each other. We just like making music together.
Yeah, so we
I
put
don't
up
even
with
like
each
that.
other.
Yeah, that's the attitude we want.
Now there's a melody that happens, so I guess it's a chorus now, so I'll save it for the end.
Yeah, because the course sucks.
I like the chorus.
Guys.
This is probably my least favorite part of the album.
You already said that about the other part.
I think it actually is maybe my favorite. Like the choruses in this song are probably my favorite melody-wise. It's just
You're
very
welcome.
epic, very epic.
I think it'd be really
Tyler
cool.
wrote this part.
I think it'd be really cool too if we posted kind of this chorus, or even the last chorus of the song, and all the layers of the vocals and stuff. Because I think we did like, I don't know, 20, 25 vocal tracks over this chorus, give or take. Yeah, I'm just trying to make it like this massive, you know, choir kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
This is our tribute to 2000s metalcore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kill Switch,
This
Lamb
is
of
going
God.
to be tough to tab out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of O's.
If you go on Facebook on the videos there, there's a video of me doing that in the studio. You can see it. You can check it out.
Oh, doing the
Pretty
streams?
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do streams in this?
No, it's all read.
That's all, because, what song did you do? That was an old Kingsbane song.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Kingsbane
Okay.
and some screams.
An
Not in this
Empire of
one, though.
Dust.
That's what
Yeah.
it was.
That's Tyler's vocal solo.
Yeah, and the blast beat part. Is it in the blast beat part?
Yeah.
Is there a
Kingsbane
blast
is
beat
out
on
as
this
well,
album?
everybody, if you want to get that album too.
That one doesn't come out today though. It came out.
No, it came
Yeah,
out.
that
like,
was that's old. There is a blast beat part though on Foundations.
There we go,
The
yeah.
last song.
Oh, he reveals it now.
Yeah, wait.
We're gonna wait for the last song to tell everyone the idea.
Yeah, in the
behind
Book of
that.
Life, Tyler, the answers aren't in the back. Okay,
Yeah, but,
so let's
but
not
for
rush
the
ahead
people
here.
that love blast beats, now they're gonna wait till the end.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
We do it all, guys. We do blast beats, and that's it.
The whole time.
As you cannot tell from right now in the song.
Honestly, though, that was one thing that I was completely on board with. We were talking earlier how we disagree on everything, but one thing I did agree with was on the entire record, one blast beat is often enough. And when you guys brought that kind of premise to me from the last one,
Yeah.
So this melody here is kind of built up during the verses. And this is like the first time it's played all the way through kind of thing. I guess it's teased when the first breakdown happens in the second verse. But that's, it just builds up to that at the end there. So that was the point of that.
It was kind of with like different, more subtle synths, like earlier in the song. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
And then, at the end, it's the full like
On,
orchestra kind of playing it.
yeah.
do you think that was the way it was produced? But do you think that you maybe did some things in the mix that kind of brought that out a little bit more, even just with volume automation?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like,
You can't remember.
yeah. But, well, I know that we definitely talked a lot about building throughout the songs. So I think just as a result of the fact that we talked about that being a thing in the songs, trying to gradually build them up and up and up, it just makes sense from a mix standpoint to bring out those elements a little bit more as the song goes on.
With this song too, like I have to ask from like a mixing standpoint because I don't understand shit about any of that. Like because it is such a very like droney, like there's a lot of that low end. Like to get it to sound as huge as it does, especially as like how, I guess the proper term would be fat, I guess, or like
Thick. Industry term.
sick. Anyway, like to get it that like massive, like what do you do? Like
You just rub it a bit.
Yeah, you rub it and shine it up.
wait, what are we talking about here?
No, well, I mean, I think it comes more down to the preparation of the song. And obviously, you want to, EQ and do that stuff, balance everything so it's going to fit in a mix nicely. But I think it worked well because we did a good job of like preparing the parts in the songs, like so that there wasn't too much stuff going on. We just had the right amount of layers so that it's all going to sit in and be able to take up that whole space
Yep.
without being too much. Like maybe it's kind of on the verge of being a little bit wall of sound.
Yeah.
And you're kind of searching for things, but I think it comes more down to that than the mix itself.
Right.
Because as long as you're paying attention to making things sound balanced, then it should be easy to put everything in its place.
When you put it into words like that, it kind of makes sense as to how the production of the entire record went, more or less. Because the experience with Kingsbane was maybe a little different for you guys, but then to come back into this with the way that everything was done in-house, self-produced, self-mixed, everything except for pretty much mastering, if I'm not mistaken. So just to kind of have that experience on a full length and then to kind of come back around full circle to something that's a little more, just, I guess, quality over quantity and really just kind of iron out the exact, like, this is exactly what we wanted from this kind of thing.
Yeah. Because we took quite a long time on Foundations as well, and it's shorter. So yeah, I think we just took the same amount of effort that we might have put into Kingsbane, but put it into like more specific avenues within the making of this record, so that it, we wanted certain things to shine rather than just kind of blanket putting effort over everything. I don't know.
Absolutely not. I couldn't agree more.
I think
Nothing
my
shines, it's just
favorite
dull.
thing before we go on to the next song, my favorite thing in this one is that after the last chorus where that big epic melody plays, and it, right before it goes into the, I'm pissed, before it goes into the heavy riff, your scream, how you hold out that like belt and then you turn it into a scream, I think sounds fucking awesome.
Oh, sick. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, we always get kind of pigeonholed, which I think is kind of good that different people think that we sound like different bands, different genres, because, that means that we're kind of broad and that people get a little, something different out of what they're hearing from us, which is great. But, one thing that always falls back on us, which is, because of me, is we always get grouped into a lot of the power metal stuff, and especially on this song, there's a lot of those kind of moments where, I'm doing something that sounds power metal. So, like, I think those are the things that people always gravitate towards. They go, "Oh, this is like a band that's power metal." It's like, well, I don't think none of us think that we're a power metal band. You know what I mean? Like we have influences for maybe those kind of bands, but because I'll sing something like that, people maybe go,
Yeah.
So
And it's not a knock on power metal.
no,
It's
not
just-
at all. But I apologize to the rest, everybody in this room, because to everyone who knows us and like listens to our music and stuff, we're obviously heavily influenced by many different genres, but we don't want to just be known as just a power metal band. Like we want to be kind of one of those broad, like you don't know what the fuck we are, and that's what's cool. Cool. Next song. This is Ignite, the first single that we released, and our music video that we did with Flip City Films with
Mr.
the pistol from Bristol.
Yeah. That was a fun experience too. It was good.
Yeah,
It was
Good guy to work with. Great guy.
Yeah.
Check him out.
Anything anyone wants to bring up about this song before we listen to it?
It's probably my least favorite.
It's probably Bob's least favorite moment on the album,
Yeah, the common theme is going to be that Bob hates everything about this record.
which is good. That's how you grow.
Let's give it a listen and then go from there.
All right.
Fine.
Wait,
I love how that hits. Just boom.
I was very excited when this was decided to be the first thing that people would hear.
Yeah.
It's that intro.
Well, because Christoph wrote all these riffs and
Yeah.
everything, and they're just absolutely massive. Like they're so
They're very small.
yeah.
that's like a good 6 inches though. They're all 6-inch riffs.
Yeah.
But these riffs are just, I don't know, they're just crazy good, because it's modern, like there's a lot of modern elements to it, but it's just like it's progressive and it's still got that fat kind of epic sound that we go for, and it's just, I don't know, it's like that perfect blend. It's definitely my favorite song on the record for sure.
I just like how everything, like it's like a tight song, but every part's different, like it's not, no verse repeats. Like
Yeah.
like the chorus, like when you first hear this, like when to do the when it comes. So like when it comes again, but like the first time you sing like over the tom thing is different than that acoustic thing, different than this part coming up. Then you do the high part. Like no part repeats other than the chorus, but it makes sense. It flows.
I guess that's a cool thing too about the chorus is that it's like a riffy chorus.
It's a riffy
We don't
chorus,
really,
yeah, not an epic.
we hadn't really had that before. Because they're always big on like arrangements and
In my
Big
opinion,
choruses.
I'm not a huge fan of when bands do that because like the song itself is super intense, but when the chorus comes, it's almost a conscious production decision to kind of ramp the guitars into a longer sustained note kind of pattern going into it, and then even the drums will go in, like they'll go to double time, and it doesn't necessarily sound as powerful to me anyway when I'm listening to it. So I'm not a fan. I'm a much bigger fan of that type of thing where it actually just has that kind of progression to it. That right there.
well, we'll totally disregard that then and never do it again.
Yeah, never again.
Well, I guess Going Under is kind of a riffy chorus too.
Yeah, that'd be
But
like
that-
the other exception.
Yeah.
Harbinger, everybody, came out 2013. You can go check that out.
Great vocals.
Yeah.
I haven't
That was
I hadn't
before-
sunk into my voice yet.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna sing this part when you're 70?
Hopefully I die young so that my image is forever immortalized as like oh look at how like great he was until
You have 2 more years.
Yeah, you have to die by
Yeah.
27.
oh yeah,
So start drugs now.
Oh shit, can we like make it big already? Like I feel like
I'm huge right now.
No, we're gonna make it
This
big
part's my-
after you die.
right.
Tragic.
Otherwise we'll just drag this on a little longer than torture you guys.
Yeah.
I love this part, how the synths follow the guitars.
Oh, it's so
Sounds
cool.
huge.
This section is definitely one of the funnest things to play live. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I love, because Reed leaves the stage, so we look fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Or sometimes he comes over and wishes he played drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, we forced Tyler to learn the lick on bass too. We told him he had to.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a crazy thing.
It's very stretchy.
Yeah.
So this next part coming up here, I brought it up to the guys, I brought it up to you guys about doing this like Mongolian throat singing kind of thing, and we tried. Yeah, you can kind of hear it in there. It's like just in the mix, and it kind of adds that like mono, like kind of that droning
Drone, yeah.
one note. And just because I was watching that band from Mongolia that's been pretty big called The Who,
The Who.
or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever they're called, like not like The Who, like smashing guitars, like. And I think it just added like such a cool effect to it that we were able to make that happen.
That's cool there.
Even though I couldn't nail it like they do.
There's a very cool production element to add.
Yeah, it was cool to
Subtle
do.
and just adds more of a mood than anything, like a vibe.
I think all of us, which was really cool about this record, is that we added so much more production. Like we added so much more layers, And like this song has just got so much, like it's got those bass drops and like the intro and like
Yeah.
the choruses. Christoph with all the string stuff and
Yeah, there's a distorted violin too.
like that's I don't know, like that kind of stuff is just so cool. It just adds like such a layer to it, and then the songs like that you need to, in my opinion, and I love songs that kind of have multiple layers. You listen to it, a few times, and you hear something different that you didn't hear before, and that's just so, I don't know. I feel like that it's not only is it artistic and also just kind of creative, but it just makes, if you love the song and you love what you're listening to, you're like, oh man, like I love this part. Oh man, I didn't realize that they did this, and
Yeah, that's what I always love about. That's what I love in the music that I listen to is hearing all the extra things every time you listen to it. So
That's huge for a lot of the tracks on this record, I think. Also, there was for me in my perspective, there wasn't a lot of perfectionism happening necessarily. Things had to be tight, things had to be good, things had to be on point. But there's a lot of happy accidents, I think, especially with the vocal tracking, just on the front of how some of the things that we were able to get sound. Necessarily, maybe you wouldn't get that if we were in a kind of a different mindset when we were going through that time and that period of tracking all the vocals for this record. Just having it, just kind of let loose and see what happens more or less, versus kind of having that more, okay, this has to be this particular way and we already have this kind of mindset to it and everything like that too. So I was really blown away by how that came together.
Yeah.
I was also gonna say too, like whenever I've showed people the song or whenever they've listened to it, one of the biggest compliments, which is so great, and I think it gets lost in a lot of metal nowadays, is the drumming. Like some of the fills, the beats, the decisions that you made musically, like added to the song. It made it so much more like, there was 5 guys in this band, versus 4 guys and just a computer, it added such a human element to it. Yeah. And that's a huge thing that I hear a lot, when people are talking about the song, because they'll like this, they'll like that, and stuff you normally hear from metal fans and from, but it's I find metal, because it's so, perfect a lot of the time, and
A lot of
so-
shit sounds the same nowadays.
right, and it's just nice to have like the drums, which I find in metal has kind of taken a back seat on like the individual aspect of it, unless you're like Mike Portnoy or Danny Carey or some of these bigger well-known guys. It's just nice to hear people compliment that instrument in a metal band, in an underground metal band. You know what I mean? So
and
Absolutely.
that is like the most difficult instrument to capture too, because like anyone can record guitars and like vocals aren't as bad, but like to record live drums and mix them
Yeah,
so they
and-
sound good.
Do it on a low budget.
Yeah.
And make them sound good, but without completely resampling the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we used some samples, but they were samples from the session that
Yep.
we tracked the drums in, and and you yourself handled that side of it, so we know that it's something that you're happy with the performance that we're hearing,
Yeah.
which is like
Yeah, I'm not
Huge.
a huge like I'm not anti using drum samples or anything like that. It's more so to serve the song. The song is the more important factor than carrying on the back end of it is like, oh well, you use drum samples. You're a shitty recording engineer. You're a shitty drummer. It's not necessarily about that. It's about the music.
yeah.
So yeah, in the session we made sure to make a point of getting, I think I'm going to ballpark it maybe like 20 to 30 to 40 samples of every drum on the kit. And
crazy.
I even went back and got cymbal samples as well. I don't know if you ended up using any of those in the mix for like cymbal tails or anything. I know in the beginning of Ignite, all that reverse stuff that happens, there's a lot of my cymbals
That
in
was I guess any of the cymbal samples were more like effect kind of
Yeah.
just as a little bit of spice here and there.
Yep.
Little flavor.
A little bit of flavor, yeah.
It's nice and everything nice.
And we'll hear some of that in the next track too.
Let's skip it. I guess before we switch songs, I think kind of going off what Reed said, I just love that little cymbal splash thing, whatever,
Yeah.
before the last
But the
chorus.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You guys-
that's the second half of our 2000s metalcore tribute.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Because
It was like there was like a stop in the song, and I think on the original demo there was just like a little snare fill, just da 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 da.
Yeah,
And after kind of feeling it out, we decided it'd be better to like.
I remember it took a
stop
few-
it and-
Yeah, we worked on it for.
It took a couple
yeah.
jams. It's like such a short little space, but it took a few jams to like decide that's
it's-
exactly how we
it's
how we
coming
want
back to
that
me
break to
because
be.
there was that one. I remember that one on YouTube, that one video that we made where your face does a weird like emoji thing or something.
Oh, that was for that
that was
verse
kind of writing it, but then I think that one kind of came about after that. I'm starting to remember, and then I think I just did it once, and I think Reed lit up like a Christmas tree or something, and then
Yeah.
oh yes,
That's on his resume.
That little fill just brings me back to like
Lamb of God.
Lamb of God
Yeah,
days.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's that early, like Christoph saying, it's like that early 2000s, like new wave
Yeah.
of American heavy metal, like Lamb of God, Kill Switch, like all
Yeah,
these
just a nice
bands.
pause and then
Yeah.
What's that song?
cymbal fill and-
Now you've got something to die for. It's like just playing with the splashes and stuff.
exactly. It sounds cool.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's like it's cliche, but it's awesome.
At the same time, it's like if you do things, I think, and this is not just because like being like a homer or whatever like that, but I feel like how we did it was just it was tasteful and it almost paid homage. You know what I mean? It's like there's so many times that bands like go way too far on one end of the spectrum. Like I love the bands like if you want to pay homage to the 80s, like pay homage to the 80s, but don't necessarily go all 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you're Steel Panther, and then it's part of the fun.
That's what
you know
you
what I
do,
mean?
yeah.
But that's my personal opinion. But I think that little things here and there like that is just such a nice little, like, hey, this is like we grew up listening to those bands. Like that's our influences. That's our, So I think that was really cool.
whether it's conscious or not. It's just if it's the kind of music you grew up listening to.
Yeah.
It'll
Gonna make
show,
it-
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna make it in there.
It's the same thing like when you listen to like Dream Theater and they have parts that sound like Rush, right?
Right.
Whether
Of
it's
course.
conscious or not. I mean, in their
course.
case, I think they actually have like a whiteboard and they like decide they want like a
Yeah,
Rush.
it's a little
bit.
more scientific.
But it's it's cool. Like you and then that way you discover bands that your favorite bands listen to. Otherwise,
Yeah.
how would you hear about that?
for sure.
The music video is cool too. Thanks, Seth. You're a baby.
Thank you, Seth.
Thanks, Pistol
Wherever you are, Seth, you better be watching this.
You limey cunt.
All right. So this one is written by
Battle
Mr.
of the Thames.
Mr. Reed Alton has written this track for us.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the song with the most growth from demo to final product.
Yeah, there were
sure,
a lot
by
of
far,
pills
In
for
a,
this.
in a sense, the most, but like also, I think its overall structure and length has stayed the exact same, and we just kept adding layers of other
Yeah.
instruments. But the actual song, when Reed demoed this on his phone for us, like stayed the exact same, and then we just added.
structure-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about it is, I can't, like, personally, I can't play any of the instruments like you guys can. Like, I can't come up with, like, the riffs and some of the stuff you guys do because you guys are fucking really good at it. But for me, it was like when I brought it to the table, and then you guys were like, I could see this, because I was like, hey, I hope this thing grows into something big, and you guys all were like, we totally hear where this can go. And just hearing the final product of it, it just, it makes me kind of breathe a little easier, because I feel so self-conscious when it's like, here's what I have to offer compared to what you guys are able to offer, because you guys write such like mad riffs and songs and stuff. So I
Maybe
just
you can breathe better because you took your asthma medication.
Yeah. Seriously, to all the kids at home, right? You got those issues, right? Listen to your mom, okay?
Take your meds.
Take your meds.
It's
It's called Battle of the Thames in Ontario, not England.
Called Battle of the Thames in England too.
This is actually Reed playing. That was the cool thing about this.
I thought you meant the pan flute.
Play the pan flute. No, the guitar.
Yeah.
That too, yeah.
And this will blow your mind. This is actually Reed singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something we kind of tried to do, is get everyone involved in everything. So it's not one person just doing the guitars. We all did the group vocals.
Yeah.
Everyone played guitar. Like, it was just, I did the drums.
Yeah.
Cody didn't know that, actually. We're telling him now. We went back and retracked the drums with Dave Grohl.
Yeah, no, it's okay, guys. I already knew.
Yeah. You could tell because it was amazing.
It's all good. I understand.
That's amazing, spelt with an
And then this acoustic part Tyler recorded is like my favorite thing in the whole album. And for the verses, like,
Yeah, that was kind of just like a in the moment. We had
Another happy accident.
yeah.
yeah, this
Throwing
part
a-
is just
Throwing an acoustic guitar around the room. My part was really bad, but then Tyler saved the day, and I think there's a few from Chris and Bob in there.
oh yeah, for sure
possibly.
me, yeah.
Yeah, for sure you. It's kind of layered throughout. Actually, we did a.
There's a bunch of layers on
one of
this
us is
song.
on like the left and the right. Like we
Yeah,
did,
that's what I was gonna say. There's Reed in the middle of the song, on the guitar through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then as it builds, at least in the pre-pros,
Yeah.
I did that, and we brought in a guitar from left and right, both Christoph and Bobby playing basically just the same thing, just a little bit heavier, and then just bringing it up throughout
Yeah,
the
right
mix.
here, yeah.
You can kind of hear it there, that little but just on the acoustic guitars, just to give it a little more.
Yeah, and there's like a little arpeggio in there that Tyler played that kind of sounds like a mandolin arpeggio, but the guitar, I think.
Yeah, there was no.
Oh yeah, it was a kind of a higher finger picking.
Yeah, it was up there, and it gives it that kind of like mandolin
This
feel.
was all on that cheaper Seagull.
Yep.
Like there was no mandolins, there was no fancy 12 strings, there was no anything like that.
Just one nice guitar.
One nice guitar.
That's all you need.
Cody, did you do all like the shakers and the
Yeah.
Pretty sure I did all of them. Unless
percussive
you added
stuff?
any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only samples that I added were on your toms in the background.
Yeah.
On every one, there's just like a bigger tom boom underneath, so you kind of feel it. Like,
That's cool. Right. I remember bringing that up
Yeah.
and saying, like the low end was a little.
yeah. Other than that, everything
That's my
else
favorite
was
bit.
done by us,
Should have
That whole
been
little-
removed.
mostly here. Yeah.
It's like the best part of the whole song is that vocal lick.
I'm glad that we were able to make that one work too.
Your execution on this whole thing is just.
What, the vocals?
Yeah, just.
Perfect.
I was gonna say is I think the cool thing about this song too is that we're we're a very calculated band. Like we want to make sure that everything we're doing is like spot on. We want to make sure that it sounds tight, it sounds great. But this song has like a little bit of that loose element to it, And I think that's kind of like the flavor of the song.
It was needed for this.
It's
Yeah.
got that raw kind of, I don't know. It feels like there's a bunch of guys playing acoustic guitars, and
Yeah.
it eventually gets bigger. But
I love it.
Okay.
No, I was gonna say I love the before going to this chorus where you do the octave. We all sing the song. I think the line is.
Yeah.
I did the. I was like, oh, this sounds good.
just good.
Yeah, it's good.
This sounds pretty okay.
Even when I heard the pre-pros were all good, and then when I heard the first mix, just like, yeah, this, that was, for me, that was like the moment, like, this belongs on this record.
And then we all did the woes here, right?
Yep. That was fun.
Yeah.
Cody was somehow harmonizing everything perfectly.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah. My ears were auto-tuned differently that day.
You're
Yeah.
to a different. Yeah.
It's just huge.
There's like a little guitar lick that follows the melody in here. And I remember writing that while I was on vacation in Australia.
Yeah, actually, I remember that because you were demoing stuff. You were
Yeah.
sending stuff from Australia.
Yeah. And that survived.
Phil Collins.
And then for the solo section, me, Bobby, and Tyler got together and just knocked him out of my place.
Oh right,
Yeah.
yeah. I forgot about that.
It was like a group writing session. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Do
was.
that more.
All
Bob,
these solos are so sick.
Bob first and Chris,
Yeah.
and then I get to do a couple little licks after.
Yeah.
This is Christoph, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is. I remember for the little licks you and I doing that one thing. Just somehow we ended like spot on harmonized. It was like
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah. We like tracked it in one go.
Right here's Ty, right?
No, this is still Bob.
Yeah.
this is you?
And then Tyler comes in with
There's like little licks after, like
Yeah.
these are me.
right here.
Oh yeah.
And then this one.
And I remember at your place we couldn't find a delay that we liked, so we like
Yeah, I just
Chop the
copy
track.
paste.
Oh yeah. It's a fun one. That one's probably my favorite for sure.
definitely that song is like just an awesome. It's just a good song. And then just layers and layers, and it's not like complex or anything, but you don't need to be.
So I'm gonna stop it there because
Yeah.
there's actually a bridge between this one and the next song.
It's just really cool that it flows right into the next song.
Yep.
But no, that song is just, I mean, I think we're all, all of us love melody. All of us, I think, in one way or another, we love that kind of that, folkiness and a lot of like stuff. I mean, I know like Cody wasn't on Kingsbane, but we had Razor's Wind, which kind of had that folky element to it. And, having one song on, every release that just kind of has that, it's like a break almost. Like it's not necessarily like taking away from our sound or who we are, what we want to do, but just kind of getting into that, the human element where it's like, bringing it back down to a more simpler kind of rudiment, like rudimentary kind of
Absolutely.
foundation,
Absolutely. A lot of bands nowadays will just go for the, straight half-hour EP of just bludgeoning you to death.
Yeah.
In a lot of different subgenres of metal. There's not a lot of that in my experience anyway. There might be a lot of bands out there that I haven't listened to or haven't explored that are doing that, but in my experience, it's always just a straight, balls to the wall, all out the entire time these days. So it's really nice to have that where it just kind of brings it right down, several levels onto a track like that. And when it's when it's produced well and it's executed well, then it adds an entirely different kind of perspective to the record as a whole.
Yeah.
More or less.
You just said a-hole.
A-hole.
I wasn't meaning you, relax.
Okay.
I don't know. For me, at least, this release is like, it's really meaningful, I think, to me, just because we spent a lot of time deciding which songs we actually wanted to include on it. Like we did it for us. It wasn't like, yeah, this would be a cool song to release. For people would probably like this one. Like we personally like got together and decided like, yeah, we like these group a bunch of songs for their own reasons and like put all our effort into those songs, and just so it means something to us. Like it's very personal. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree.
How much of a pain in the ass was mixing that song? There's so many instruments and
It's
extra.
not bad.
No, not bad.
He was probably saying as a whole.
A-hole?
Well, speaking of kind of like, you know,
Hit songs.
yeah, because Bobby hates everything on this record. I guess this next one, which, you know, Battle of the Thames flows right into it with kind of this cool, atmospheric, kind of cool transition into this next song. This is something that Bobby had written, more or less the structure of this song and kind of the whole song as a project, right? It was like a project for...
Yeah, in my one class at university, there was I was taking a tragically hip Canadian history class,
which is super cool.
and for the final project, the teacher wanted you could do like a poem or, you know, an actor, something creative. So I asked if I could do a song, and he said yeah. So this is the song that kind of came about. So showed it to the guys, they liked it, and I was like,
Let's make it heavy metal. Let's make it heavy metal.
Yeah. Well, it's just a well-written song.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
solid.
Who cares
structure.
if it's not like a prog or power metal song? It's just a good song, and we like it.
Yeah, I mean,
so.
and to be
Exactly.
fair, it's, you know, what you're hearing is not what necessarily was completely on the demo. Like we did rework.
it did change it. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff added. There's sections added. So it's definitely a lot fuller sounding for sure than what it was. But turned out great. But yeah, it wasn't really supposed to be an Osyron song at all. So it's kind of funny that it ended up. On
Yeah.
that, but
Because sometimes you just hear a song, like Tyler said, like it was just when we were listening to all the demos, it was just as soon as we heard it, we're like, that's 100% on the album. Same with Battle of the Thames. It was like right away, those two were dialed in.
For me, it was I love playing this one. It's just fun.
yeah.
It's really
is.
fun. It's laid back on the drums. I can't speak for anything else, but at least in my world, it's really laid back. It's really straightforward. It's got kind of a swing beat to it, so it's really fun to just jam along to.
And it's one of
Anyways,
the
hit play.
only songs on the record, I think, other than the end of Battle of the Thames, that actually has like a solo, like a guitar solo. Nothing else.
Like classic.
Like a classic,
Yeah,
like an
yeah,
actual like
yeah.
a section
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
because I know Battle of the Thames, like it ends with that, but like, you know, traditionally in a lot of like rock and metal and stuff, like
Yeah, there's like a solo
there's
section.
a solo section, you
Well,
know.
the entire song has that layout. The more, you know,
Traditional sort of.
traditional layout.
So I just think it's just so cool because it's like it really is kind of an old school kind of approach to the songwriting and to the riffing, but we have a modern take and kind of a more like Osyron kind of take on the song, right?
it's a bit of an Osyron spin, but it's still straight out of left field for a band like us.
yeah.
Yep.
And
That's
I
why
think
it's so fun.
from what we've seen from the music video release, this was the second single to be released this month, and it was quite well received already. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right,
The ones below.
the ones below.
Tyler did this little transition thing so well. So. We did all the guitars for this.
Yeah.
You just broke all the strings. Yeah, so there originally wasn't a melody, I guess it would be over this. So yeah, Tyler's idea to add the octaves and sounds pretty Soilwork-y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That was like
we're
another.
key?
This is another song that kind of grew too.
Yeah,
Because we had like
definitely,
the layout, and then we added like these
The
clean guitars and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no time to reflect on all the pain. We live it out without despair. Another man.
Yeah, the original, we were going to do a music video for this one too at a bar. Like it was because the theme, you know, don't be too sad for, you know, those who aren't with us, rather celebrate their life. So we were going to do a big music video for this one too, but then with everything happening, we had to do a studio footage and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But Christoph did an amazing job on it.
I think it still portrays like be
Us.
happy, not happy, like
Yeah. Well, like
got that major
celebrate
feel.
rather
Celebrate,
than
yeah.
than like, you know, be sad. Like there's a time to be sad and there's a time to remember and celebrate.
It's something different. A lot of songs that are written about death and
This is my favorite part of the album.
This is
The
Tyler's
solo
solo.
is
Yeah,
like,
this is
oh yeah,
And you in the video you made it look like a 90s
guitar video.
guitar instructional video.
yeah. You should add that like cheesy smile on your face when you're playing. It would be perfect.
Read, your vocals on this song are really good too.
Don't encourage
Just all
him.
the high pitched stuff, or the, I don't know what it's called, the layers that you did just before.
Falsettos.
And back and
Well, this whole
forth
solo section was so cool because you brought it up. You're like, I think because Bobby had written a solo for it, and then you were like, what if we did like a call and response kind of thing? And we just kind of winged it. Like, you know, we came here to Cody's place and just improvised some stuff, and it just kind of came out like this. It just sounds so raw and real, and that one right there was my first take,
Oh, was it?
and then everything after that just sucked like major ass. So like, well,
just
yeah,
keep
that wasn't done during the. Actually, right where you're sitting right now, you recorded it there, like just kind of on a whim. I just threw a mic
Yeah, we didn't have any
in the
video of
room
it either.
and we didn't have video of it either. It was just a kind of a just on the spot thing. Like, let's throw it in right now and just see what we get. But that solo is just, it's got that rock and roll. It's got that like that metal to it a little bit, and that crunch. But it's just so, I don't know.
Great lines
We
in the
forgot to
sands.
put in the.
Wait, what?
That's not supposed to be empty.
Where's the?
Yeah.
Unreleased the song.
We already did that earlier.
Oh, okay.
I love the haze during this too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the haze. Yeah, we all did the group chants.
All the gang vocals came out great.
The gang vocals are always like the funnest part on any album.
As you can see from the music video,
Yeah.
it's very hard to get done properly, but
I think at that part too, we were like adding layers of like, because you do like your proper haze and then you add layers of like stupid voices that you can mix in or like fill it out, and I think that's what was going on there. But
I love this vocal outro. It's very intimate.
yeah, it's sincere.
Well, I was naked when I recorded.
Wimp.
Wow.
You're a
Yeah,
wimp.
so that's why.
and that's why we don't have video of that either.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
why you weren't here.
Yeah.
That was a great night.
I had a picture of you though. That's what I was.
Yeah, I guess not. I can't think of much else for that one. That was pretty straightforward. I think you were saying the mixing for that one was a bit easier, right? Like for some reason.
this one was definitely there was the least amount of trouble with this song. Just probably to do with the the kind of simplicity of the
Just the arrangement.
the arrangement,
way it's laid out.
Everything just worked so well.
And that's another one that all of us are on, like, because you did the acoustic guitars during the
Solo.
like you have your solo, like that's one.
I played drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that.
That's who did it.
I was gonna say too that from a lyrical standpoint, like this is the one song that isn't kind of in the same kettle as the rest of the songs when it comes to the subject matter and kind of the idea behind it. Which the whole EP is is kind of about Canada as a nation, and the good, the bad, and especially the ugly when it comes to the foundations of how our nation was built. All the genocide and wars and cultural genocide and all that kind of stuff that took place and that can't be unwritten. It's set in stone. But with this song, because it is kind of that hopeful kind of sound, it's got that kind of that celebratory kind of sound. And I don't know how it is in a lot of other places, but I know that especially here in Canada and not all the time, but when you cheers and you clink your glass down on the table and then you drink, I was always told, and I'm sure everyone has different reasons behind the origin of doing that, but I was always told that that's kind of clinking your glass down for fallen friends or fallen family members or people that are no longer there. You're cheersing to the people that are here, and then you're cheersing to the people that are no longer here. And I just I think that having that kind of in this record kind of takes away for a moment just that kind of that brutally honest subject matter that we're talking about, and kind of being, hey, let's celebrate something, you know? And I think that's a nice break in it. You know, it's not just so doom and gloom and moody and like, you know, fuck this. And it's kind of got that, like, let's drink, let's celebrate.
Yeah. And I think that also kind of maybe aligns with the fact that, you know, although we are talking about some pretty grim subject matter throughout this EP, it doesn't mean that we're not proud of our
Of
country.
course.
Like we love where we live. And yeah, just because we're talking about some of the not so nice things about our country, like the ones below kind of brings out, you know, they're still good
Oh yeah.
and we need to celebrate as well.
Yeah, I think it's our duty as like citizens, like any citizen of any nation, like it's your job to be just as critical of your nation as it is to celebrate your nation. You know, like I think that's like our job as like citizens is to like look at your government, no matter who's in charge, whether you like the person or not, and you go, you know, this is what you're doing right and this is what you're doing wrong. And I think that's like, you know, with our history, we can celebrate, you know, the things that we have done right and the things that we should celebrate. And then we should also be like, we did fuck up. We're not perfect. No one's perfect. You know, we're not perfect. You know,
That's important. Yeah. Like you can't just whitewash your history and like, oh yeah, no, we never did anything wrong, and like look at other countries and stuff. You got to be honest with what you're about, kind of thing.
yeah.
I think that's important. But
Last one.
Last one. Title track.
From the brilliant mind of Mr. Tyler Corbett.
Very, very, very brilliant mind.
mysterious.
Yeah.
And he's bendy.
And
Really
We found
bad.
that out. Hey, bud.
sitting cross-legged.
Yeah,
He's doing his yoga. His practice.
Yeah.
Sue's gonna
Levitate. He's just gonna meditate through this entire thing. Well, this is the longest track too, which is like it's really cool to end on. Like I know Iron Maiden's done that, you know, like where they'll have the last song be the longest one, you know.
I did that for Kingsbane too, because
Yeah.
Kingmaker was what 9 minutes? 10
It's like
minutes.
just
10
under
minutes,
10
I
minutes, I think, or something.
So yeah.
So I think it's just really cool that this is kind of the long epic. I mean, this song is the most like, I don't know, when it comes to like mountains and valleys, when it comes to kind of the ebbs and flows of a song, this song has got everything,
Yeah, for sure.
everything in it. Like Ty went all
And
out
a
on
bass
this.
solo.
And a bass solo.
Yeah.
Probably my least favorite.
That's a harmonic there. That's so cool.
That's a bass.
There's no harmonicas on this, dude.
Harmonicas.
Bass harmonica.
What about kazoo?
Bass harmonica.
Oh, we didn't get that one in there.
No.
The kazoo.
For the next album, we should use we should use a recorder.
Yeah.
So going on what we were talking about before this song, maybe you could elaborate a bit on why you chose the subject matter you did for this.
Yeah, this one's pretty heavy for you, yeah?
Yeah, well, this one is, again, I think it's like, you know, I think it's up to a band in general to, you know, if we all agree on something, we all go, you know, all in, and we back each other up. I mean, this is the most personal lyrically, because this is my own opinion on, like, the rest of the songs is fact, right? Like in the Cross, English and French explorers and you know, different kind of European powers came into North America and they fucked shit up. You know, it's written, it's there. It's not, you know, like that's the truth. You know, with Ignite, you know, with World War I and Canada's rule in World War I, it's all laid out there. Like it's already been written. It's been there for 100 years. Battle of the Thames, same thing, right? About Tecumseh and you know how he was on the side of the British and is a polarizing figure in that era and at that time. And then the ones below obviously is just kind of, I guess, another opinion. But when it comes to that subject matter, I find with Foundations, you know, my family background, I have someone who is of First Nation descent, and they were ashamed to, you know, tell people or show people who they were. And I remember just hearing those stories, and I have no ties at all to that part of my history because she, you know, and to no fault of her own, she was in that era where you were not allowed to, you know, if you wanted to be successful, unfortunately, you know, she couldn't really.
You could not embrace your own heritage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is just such a shame, right? Especially because we try so hard nowadays to embrace everything, you know, as best we can. And so this is just kind of talking about my opinions on like where we stand as a nation and as a people. And you know, there's that one line where it's like, you know, talk about white lies and white crimes and wild lies and wild crimes. You know, like it's that correlation that, you know, is embedded in the history of this nation. But anyway, I'm just glad that we were all, you know, when I brought that up, you guys were on board with it. Because I know, Christoph, you wrote all the lyrics for Kingsbane, which were they were unbelievable, especially being such like a concept album and being based on something in fantasy and kind of like, you know, a made up kind of storyline. But to get very real on this EP and on this record, you know, I can't say like thank you enough for allowing me to do that and to bring that forward to help, you know, my contribution to the project, you know, like to the
Just don't do it again.
yeah. Well, I've learned that now. You know, fool me once.
No, I think it was great. It was good to. Also, for me, it was great because I didn't have to write lyrics. So,
Wait, are you saying the Viper Queen is not real?
Oh no, she's
You weren't
real.
supposed to tell him.
Yeah. I had this cosplay ready.
Christoph told me about his dream, and I was like, wow. It's like, I wish she was real.
Yeah.
But this part's so cool because
This part's great because it's the soup moment.
yeah, it's like that
We'll have to
first bowl
explain
of
that.
soup. You know,
Reed, when he just finds out that soup of the day is his favorite thing,
Oh,
and
yeah, man.
this is how he reacts.
well, Ty and I first bonded over Tesseract.
I thought you were gonna say soup.
Yeah.
Oh well, there was a bowl of soup there too, and I remember him and I drive out to Langdon where Ty grew up, and we were both into Tesseract, and I was listening to Altered State, and just listening to this kind of atmospheric kind of stuff. And Ty, you're like a king at that kind of, you know, that kind of world as well, and especially with your solo stuff, like, you know, like all the atmospheric kind of elements. And I just remember when this happened, and I told you, I was like, we got to make this like a Tesseract moment, you know.
Yeah.
And I think you mixed it so well to make it kind of that eeriness and that spaciness.
And the melody that plays here is the same from the cross, the
Yeah,
last chorus in the cross.
Yeah, actually.
Underneath,
Yep.
on the acoustics, low in the background, same melody from the cross.
At the very end.
Wow,
So it all kind of.
we're smart.
Ties it together.
It was your idea.
Tyler's it together.
How drunk was I? Oh, here's the blast beat part. This is Cody's favorite part right here.
This is the part that Reed stepped on a Lego and he's just screaming in pain.
Yeah.
Well, I was just more pissed off that Cody has fucking Lego. Just
Well, he didn't have a mic, like even like I was playing the drums.
No, that's
And
it
he was
picked
in
up
the
with the
room.
drum mics and screamed.
He was in the bass drum.
Yeah.
No, it actually, and to be completely fair, that wasn't my favorite part because I wanted to do a way more intense blast beat. And we ended up, we didn't argue about it, but like we ended up kind of going into like a what's better for the song kind of thing.
Their words were had and punches were thrown.
Well, yeah,
And
that's what I'm trying to avoid saying. But yes,
Yeah, it was kind of brought down to a more simplistic,
yep.
just like
And in the
sped
end,
up
I'm
skank
fine
beat.
with that because that's what the song more or less needs. But
And I
the
love
one-
the acoustic guitar that happens throughout the choruses too. It just fills it out really well.
Well, it also adds in that kind of almost an extra percussion, you know, like having acoustic
Yeah,
guitar
the
always
strings.
adds like an extra kind of percussion to it. You know what I mean?
we spent, how long did we spend recording, like overdubbing acoustics, not including Thames, but for
Probably the
rest
same
of
amount of
tracks?
time as recording everything else.
Probably like 5 minutes.
Well, I was the fastest. I did all my drums in a weekend. So
Yeah, no, you flew right by.
yeah.
And thanks to Studio D, Scott Giffen. Is it Giffen or Griffin?
Giffen.
For doing all that with us,
Putting up with us.
yeah, he's great. He's great to work with too.
Yeah, that's 2 albums in a row now.
Yeah.
The same
And then-
studio.
One of the odd times that or not odd times, but another prominent melody kind of happening throughout the album. Doesn't happen too much.
Another big outro.
Such a great guitar melody there.
And then it ends with the intro to the chorus.
Love that reverb
Oh yeah.
piano.
East-West spaces.
Yeah.
You keep telling me.
Endorse us. Endorse us. Quantum Leap. Give us money.
So yeah, like Ty, I mean that's the longest composition on the entire record. I mean, it more than doubles the ones below, like in length.
Hey, it's not the size.
It's not the length that counts. It's how.
Jeez.
Virginia, you did a great job at this one.
Thanks, Dad.
Writing this whole song, because it is like the longest one, and you recorded all the bass and guitars for this song, which, by the way, like the fact that there's 3 guys in this band that can play guitar and record multiple things and do
4. You forgot Cody.
right. Yes, you and your
I'm not a guitarer.
guitar.
Not a guitarologist, sorry.
But the fact that we've got 3 guys that are able to write and record and throw in different things and switch
3 guitarists at that level.
Yeah. At the level that they're able to do. I mean,
Yeah.
so like what was it like writing this song, man, and like actually recording it, because it's such a like epic, larger than life kind of song, right?
Well, writing it, I just remember it was a lot of fun because a lot of the stuff that I regularly write is kind of more along the lines of the progressive side, like Chris brought out in Ignite, and just kind of weird stuff, really weird time signatures. But I mean, I really loved kind of the longer, drawn out and well arranged song structures in Kingsbane, and I was kind of inspired by that, so I wanted to have my take at that kind of thing. So that's mostly what Foundations came from. Like, and I was also listening to Insomnium Winter's Gate. So,
Yeah, that's when
There it is.
when I heard the demo of this, that was like, oh fuck yeah.
yeah.
It's like huge Insomnium vibes in the good way.
I was so pumped for their show here. What was it? A few months ago.
For COVID.
Yeah, before it all happened. And,
Yeah, hopefully everyone's safe and sound and, doing well. And I mean, we can't wait to actually start, doing shows, and eventually, like, I'm assuming probably next year,
yeah.
We're hoping, yeah.
get into doing some touring and, maybe go over across the pond and do some
very
European
cool.
stuff, which would be really, really fun, since we get a lot of support and love from over there.
They're great bras. Perfect for support.
Are we talking about Europe or
Oh, yes.
when Bobby zones out and then comes back in?
Think of something else.
He stopped breathing and then
So Viper Queen had 3 boots? That's like amazing.
Yeah.
So what are you guys' final thoughts like on the whole EP? I mean, what did you guys take out of it? What did you guys think about it, the overall experience?
I love it because it's something that we all worked on. Like for this band, usually it was just the 2 of us that kind of brought the main ideas forward, and like lyrics and stuff like that, and song arrangements and all that kind of stuff. So in one hand, I was a little nervous just because not letting go, I would say, but just, it's always just been the 2 of us. So just finally having a whole band come in and everyone having an equal contribution, I think was so cool. And it's such, in my opinion, it's just such a strong effort and solid, and it just, I don't know, it just works. It sounds good. Like the songs are so different from each other, but just together, it just sounds great. And I just love how we all had ideas. We all, like, it wasn't just like, you can't, this is my song, don't, touch it or whatever like that. Is like everyone contributed ideas and I don't know, it was just a band effort that I loved. It wasn't just individual stuff. So that's what I like. And the artwork for the album's fucking awesome too.
Also, for me, kind of what I said earlier, I just love how it kind of along the lines of what Bob was saying too. It's very collaborative, and it was more of a personal thing. We chose the songs for specific reasons that were more on a personal level, and I just like that. It just makes it special to me for that reason.
Cool. For me, it would be just, coming in. I've never had a band where I come in as sort of the new guy and then be able to produce something on this level right out of the gate. For me, that was huge. I guess it would be on par with what Bob said about it just being a total band effort, but just to have everyone already just able to come in and already be that comfortable to just go, okay, we have this driving force behind us. Let's just go ahead and make this thing, more or less.
Next time we'll use some of your ideas, though, promise.
No, this enough of my ideas were used. Don't worry.
Well,
Not at all like that.
Really, I mean, when you think about it, I guess you had to be on every song.
Unfortunately, yes.
But I mean, like you think about some of the guitar work and stuff. Like there's some stuff where like they're not playing every single part, or they're only coming in and doing a part of a song, or like the fact that you are like in the forefront on every single track all the time. Like even I'm gone during sections of songs. You know what I mean? Like you're playing the entire time. You know what I mean? So, and that's key. It's huge. You're on every minute, every second of the song, pretty much.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
of the record. Sorry.
As a percussionist, it's if you try and fake any of that or do something in a way that's computerized or programmed or anything like that, it immediately takes away. As you can spot that kind of stuff from a mile away if you know what to listen to. You have an ear for it. So definitely, yeah, know exactly what you're talking about. It's just the whole way through to have that delivery is super important. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I don't have much to add, I guess. Just what Bob said. It's just nice to work with 4 other guys that are just, like into writing music as well, and like it's just a nice collaborative effort, like just getting together, doing layers of tracks or layers of vocals and stuff, and it's nice to have that finally. It makes me excited for like the next album more so than like this one's already done. So let's like start writing the next one kind of thing. See where we go. So we can take it.
We should clarify too on the record that Kingsbane, you guys, the previous album, you guys went about all of the writing and self-produced still, but it was just you guys. It was just Christoph and Bobby doing the brunt of the work on that one.
Yeah.
And then this one coming in, everyone was given an equal opportunity very consciously to contribute and to come up with ideas and bring things to the table.
And that's important, I think.
Actually, I changed I don't like this.
But I think that's important too, because like
We had them on board for a minute.
so that's the big important thing, is that anyone can say anything about any idea, or there's no one gets like a veto or anything. We're not like Van Halen, where if you piss off Eddie, you're out of the band.
And it was cool that we actually took that opportunity and used it well. Like it's not like we said, yeah, everyone can have their ideas and opinions if they want, and then we didn't do that. Like I remember spending countless jams on like Ignite, like working through sections, like, well, maybe we should do it like this, and we like completely switched around like the placement of verses and choruses, like that were different to the original demos. Like we did a lot of that, and it was.
I think it just comes down to the type of music. If we were just playing 4 on the floor rock and roll stuff, it would obviously be a lot different. But because we have so many interchanging time signatures and patterns and technicalities to add into the music and to be aware of, to be conscious of while writing and producing it, then just taking the time. That was another big one for me, I guess, was taking the required amount of time necessary to just make things the way that we wanted them. And there was never I never felt like I was on a time crunch for this record. I'm saying that obviously within mind, it took, when did I record drums for that? That was well over a year ago now. So
It's definitely
it did take a while, but I'm talking more so on the side of things of the pre-production, the demos, the working things out as a band in a room, that kind of stuff. It was never a stressful time to go through, in a lot of bands, and a lot, especially being a studio guy who works with other bands, you see a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety from the inner workings of a group when you come in and you work with them on pre-production or anything like that. And it's like you see those things. In this case, that wasn't the case. So for me, that was a big deal.
Yeah, so that's all of us then. Cool.
and we're done. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for checking out Foundations run through and live commentary, and
extended edition.
You can say your thoughts, I guess.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the biggest things for me were we got very real on this record. Like from a lyrical standpoint, we got real. We brought in a lot of some opinions, but also just some facts about our nation, which is really cool. I don't think that there's a lot of that circulating, especially like in any. I know in metal, there's not a lot about it, but Tragically Hip obviously are a band that were massive in this country that talked about our country, but just on a different way and in our own way doing that. I'm really proud about that. And also just kind of like we've all been saying, the collaborative kind of effort that we all put forward, I think is so cool. And like Chris said, I'm super stoked for the next record because I think we have a good idea of kind of where it's, where we're going now, like kind of where the arrow's kind of pointing. And the songwriting, I think that was a big step for us. I think that we wanted to write better songs. We trimmed some fat. We structured it, the ways that we think that, were the best. And we took some risks. And I just think it just is a real authentic kind of release, I think it's just very unapologetically us, so I think that's just kind of cool. So
Well said.
anything else?
I think that is it.
All right.
Hope
Well,
you enjoy.
yes, enjoy.
Whichever song's your favorite, I wrote it.
Yeah, because it's all on camera, so we know who wrote what. So that's great. But anyway, please go stream it, download it. Tell us your thoughts. We want feedback. We want to hear.
Absolutely. Tell us what
Seriously,
you think.
yeah. Real feedback.
Yeah, and tell us where you're from. Yeah, tell us it sucks. Yeah, and hopefully we can stop by your city or your country and on tour once things get back to normal
And hopefully we can ruin these songs for you live.
And we will buy you a beer.
I will. What?
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
It's good.
That's good.
You don't have to do it at the end. You don't. Okay.